Ahoy, my friends, Ryder here, and welcome back to another Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis video. Today, I'm going to be covering a couple things in this video. Yesterday, I put out the news that the Final Fantasy IX Reawakened banner is returning. At the time, I had not seen that on the actual Twitter page. They did show that this gear and costumes, at least two so far confirmed, are going to be getting upgraded. So I'm going to be taking a look at those, giving you guys my preliminary thoughts. After that, I am going to be checking out the Datamine, which is kind of a rough guess on our community data miners part as to what will be the first banner dropping during the 1-year anniversary. And then lastly, at the end of this video, I put out a community poll saying, how well do you guys know me? And I put a list of kind of world accomplishments there. So I'm going to be answering that question at the end of this video. So stay tuned and let's get into it. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to jump over to the official Twitter page right here. And we are going to take a look at the Final Fantasy IX crossover Reawakened coming soon. Back with enhancements. Now, you know, this whole banner, I mean, like I said, guys, they are really coming out the gates hard, trying to basically deplete everyone's crystals to 0. And I'm guessing that's because they are confident in the fact that even if we have nothing saved up, they're going to get people to spend on the 1-year anniversary. I still think that we are going to get light and dark arcanums during this anniversary. So like that is where my crystals are kind of being saved towards if that's going to happen. But that being said, it does look like we have 2 upgrades here for the Final Fantasy IX. And I'm going to take a look at these really quick, kind of give you guys a thought on whether or not these are going to be worth pulling for. And my preliminary thoughts are that, guys, this is a bait. The 1-year anniversary is right around the corner. You know, there's definitely going to be some good stuff dropping with this. I mean, we had a bunch of great gear drop for the original Final Fantasy IX, you know, draw. Unfortunately, the story for the Final Fantasy IX crossover was, I feel like, one of the weakest ones we've had. It was pretty lame, not gonna lie. I remember being thoroughly disappointed. So hopefully they do something about that. I highly doubt that they will. But let's take a look at first Zidane's outfit for Cloud. So boost HP is going to be updated from 10 to 15 points. All right. And then it looks like the boost physical ability damage when attack stance command gauge is at max is also going to go to 15 points. Now, I'm not in the game right now, so it's hard to say how much of a difference this is actually going to make, you know, but would someone be running this over the Monster Hunter garb? It's hard to say. I feel like the HP is good, but, you know, we do know that this is an attempt for Applebot to get us to drop money right now. And I just feel like this stuff, even with updates, is going to be pretty much power crept really soon. We're already getting our abilities that have more than just HP. They're coming with, you know, magic defense or regular defense as well. And so I think that those are going to be more, you know, those are going to start dropping more often around the corner, especially after the 1 year or even during it. So for the outfit, I think that if you have it, that's freaking awesome. It gets upgraded for free, so I'm super psyched on that. Now, if we look at Amarant's claws here, right? Now, this was the weapon that I actually originally went for during this campaign. I tried to build up the Amarant's claws, and I eventually, through, you know, a good amount of character-specific weapon parts, got the gloves to OB10. So I do have the Amarant's Claws OB10. So the command ability No Mercy is getting an update. So it will now inflict up to 720% non-elemental physical damage. Now let's just go take a look at these gloves right now. All right, so let's see. I'm going to filter to Tifa. All right, and let's go look at these gloves. They're right here. All right, so the current ability already deals 720% physical non-elemental damage. So it looks like they're giving a bonus to the actual damage, but it doesn't actually look like that is going to be an actual bonus here, which is kind of strange. I feel like they would actually give it a damage boost and not just pretend like they would be giving it one. So hard to say there if it's just a typo on their part or not. But this will also give physical attack boost high at OB6. So if we jump back over here, right, you can see physical damage upon a single enemy plus drastically increases physical attack. When the caster's HP is 50% or more, the enemy's magic attack is reduced. Okay, so essentially, this could be becoming the new Tiger's Fangs. However, it does not say magic attack is drastically reduced. So if all this changes, if the only change to this glove is the fact that at OB10, it can now break magic attack to mid, I'm going to be super disappointed in that. I feel like it's already so niche, especially with most of Tifa's weapons being magic-based, more so than physical-based. The Amarant's Claws don't have as much use these days. You know, it does have great R abilities, especially for HP. It does have good physical ability potency. But if that's the only change, the fact that it will now break magic attack and it's not even drastic, meaning guaranteed this is going to be mid to high at OB10, and worst case scenario is it's mid to mid at OB10, which would just be absolutely ridiculous. Now, if we take a look at Cloud's costume here, right? So we'll go to party, we'll go to co-op, I will go to Cloud, and let's go find the Zidane garb right here. All right, so here it is. Boost physical ability by 15 points. So essentially this will go from being base 15% all the way up to 30% on the costume, which is pretty substantial. I'm not gonna lie. If we look at the actual Glavenus armor, this one is kind of like it's basically an Arcanum, right? This is a separate stat right here, which will stack with the other one. So obviously this one is better than the Zidane one, but for those of you guys that don't have this, I feel like, you know, they really try hard in this game to prevent non-elemental weapons from, you know, being relevant and stuff. Like, you're not seeing anyone running Ramu EX2 with a non-elemental setup, right? It's just not going to happen. They're just not going to let it happen. So, you know, it is nice that it does increase. The HP will go from 15% to 30%, which is definitely solid. It's definitely enticing, guys. But is it worth going for right before the anniversary, right when we get a bunch of new stuff, as opposed to just getting a little bit of a better bump on the older stuff? I don't really think so. That being said, you know, the Kuja's Spirit Blade could be getting boosted. The Garnet's Rod could be getting boosted. Out of all these weapons, guys, I feel like the Garnet's Rod was the only one that at base 5-star was really viable. Everything else, you want these weapons OB6. Kuja's Spirit Blade does not unlock the high tier break until OB6. Zidane's Sword, which I have OB3, is an absolute waste of my armory space. And I wish I could get it OB6, but the truth of the matter is that we're at the point in the game now where you kind of really need OB10 stuff a lot of the time. So I feel like going for those 4 extra dupes of it is just not really going to be worth it. So I can take these free updates and just kind of save on for the anniversary, which is what I recommend most of you guys doing. You know, unless you really love one of these costumes, you have extra crystals saved up, etc. All right, so that being said, that is going to conclude. There's not much else information here. We'll just have to wait to see if the other costumes are improved, if the Garnet's Rod is improved. I'm guessing that maybe, you know, this banner will drop for the first week, kind of like the original Final Fantasy IX banner, and then, you know, Aerith's will drop the week after, and then Sephiroth's will drop on the very last week, right? Because that's how they did it originally, and Sephiroth's was basically like the ultimate bait, waiting to drop. So if Kuja's Spirit Blade gets boosted so that it goes high, you know, I'm guessing that maybe at OB10 it'll go all the way to high on the first cast, but still, Vincent has a great breaking weapon now. It's not limited. I think that, you know, for the most part, this banner is going to be easily skippable. It's just really enticing because it is Final Fantasy IX. The costumes are super sick. The weapons are cool. You know, it is what it is. All right, so that being said, I'm going to jump over the data mine now. So for those of you guys who aren't interested in a data mine drop, this is your cue to take off. This is the last thing that I think Where is the Cid now just posted. And so I'm going to read this out here. The following info is filled with assumptions. Please forgive me if I am wrong. So I'm just going to read it out. It sounds fun. I honestly don't mind if they are wrong or not. I like the kind of assumptions and the guesses towards the future. Whether they're true or not doesn't really affect me whatsoever. What will happen, and I'm braced for whatever's going to happen. So, Since it doesn't seem like version 1.15 is going to introduce anything new, it seems I will have to go off some assumptions here. Anniversary appears to be possibly bringing a new weapon type into the mix. Now, weapon type. I'm curious what this means, right? What does weapon type mean? Does this mean new element? Does this mean new kind of weapon? So we have like fist weapons, we have sword weapons, we have gun weapons, right? We have claymore type weapons. You know, we have axes. Does this mean that we're getting something different other than that? Weapon type here is, I'm not exactly sure what this means. It could mean light dark element, but I don't know if that's a weapon type. That's an elemental type. Maybe we're getting something other than physical and magic damage, right? That would be something completely new, but we'll see. So, appears to be bringing a new weapon type into the mix. The Reawakened draw being this week leads me to believe that Kate and Zach will be with the guild ranking. So I had already assumed that Zach is going to be the one that's getting the new Wind Arcanum weapon, which honestly, guys, I feel like I'm more tempted to pull for that than this banner right here. And it's not just because I have a lot of them built out. It's because I really feel like it's so much better to build non-limited DPS weapons. You can get them to OB10 guaranteed over time. And so I just feel like going for DPS weapons on limited banners is just so dangerous. Although I don't really want to spend my crystals just because if a light dark banner does drop, then I'm just freaking high and dry with nothing to do, looking at everyone else having fun. All right, so without further ado, anniversary banners. This does not include the upcoming Zach Kate Sith. All right, drum roll. All right, first one. Everyone appears to be getting one of the new weapon types. Okay, that's interesting. There's 13 characters in the game right now. So I don't know how exactly they're going to do this where every single character could get one of these new weapon types. It just, you know, it's kind of crazy. So I don't know. We'll just have to see. The second one right here says that Sephiroth and Kate Sith appear to have two of the new weapon types, implying they will be the first of the anniversary banners. Now, Sephiroth and Kate Sith, I don't really know. Sephiroth is definitely a strong contender for a first banner of the anniversary, but Kate Sith, I don't know. I feel like you could put Kate Sith with Sephiroth just because most people will pull for Sephiroth, and then the whales that are going in on that banner or the people that really love Kate Sith can go to the second page. But for me, guys, I am not going to be pulling on these banners right off the bat. I am waiting and waiting and waiting to see what is dropping later on before I can make an overall eagle eye observation of everything and come to a consensus on what I want to pull. So that is going to conclude what might be coming for the 1-year anniversary. Now, for those of you guys that, you know, go along with my community posts and answer all these little polls, which I think are a lot of fun, I posted one the other day that says, I'm curious, how well do you guys know me? Which of these things have I truly done? All right. Now, the first one I wrote, bicycled Spain, ran with the bulls. The second one, trekked the Himalayas and lived with the monks. The third one, climbed V10 and a 900-foot cliff. And the fourth one, all of above. So technically, all of you guys are right, and especially those who said all of the above. I have done all of these things. I, at one point in time, went to Europe, backpacked Europe, did 6 countries. I was going to buy a motorcycle in Italy, but it turned out to be more expensive than I thought it was going to be. And my friend over there, who's actually the chef for Team Aprilia, which is for MotoGP, professional motorcycle racing, he told me that if I buy a motorcycle in Italy, I have to sell it in Italy. So he made a joke saying that I should just buy a bicycle and ride around Europe. And I ended up doing that. I bought a bicycle and then I took the ferry. You know, I traveled all through Italy. I went down to Civitavecchia. I took the ferry across the sea to Barcelona, spent 8 days in Barcelona, and then I proceeded to bicycle across Spain. I ended up having to hitchhike across the biggest desert in Spain, which is Zaragoza. And then I ended up making it to Pamplona, which is the city where they run with the bulls. On the day right before the last day of the running of the bulls, my brother flew in, and the next day I ran with the bulls. Exhilarating and crazy experience. I saw a guy, I legitimately thought I saw a guy die. He got like speared through the gut by a bullhorn. But it turns out he survived. That's a whole long story. If you guys want to hear that story about bicycling across Spain or running with the bulls, let me know and I'll add it into a video in the future. For Trek the Himalayas, for my wife's or for our honeymoon, we went to Nepal. We lived with the monks for some time. I had already lived with them for several months the year before, so I was taking her over there to check out Nepal because I really love Nepal. And I ended up trekking the Himalayas. We did 50 miles over the period of 7 days, and it was a total blast. This necklace that you guys see me wearing right here, this was a gift from a friend of mine that I met over there. His name is Suzant. For those of you guys that have read The Monastery, it's a novel that I wrote after living over there in Nepal, and he gave me this gift before I went home. Now, this to me is like a real life legendary item. This is a mala, which is kind of like a Buddhist set of prayer beads, but this mala is made of the seeds of a tree called the Bodhi tree, actually. And the Bodhi tree in legend is the tree that Buddha was sitting under for 40 days when he found enlightenment. So these trees do not grow across all of Nepal anymore, but they do grow naturally in my friend Suzant's hometown. And he gave me this Bodhi seed mala before I left Nepal the first time that I was there. So kind of like one of the craziest gifts I've ever been given from traveling around the world. Now for the next one, climbed V10. V10 is a bouldering grade in rock climbing. I've climbed for about 10 years now, and in 2023 I did climb my first V10, which officially puts me in the top 1 to 2% of rock climbers in the world. It did take a lot of effort and was a lot of fun. And then for the 900-foot cliff, when I was 23, I made a list of a list of all my fears that I wanted to face, and heights was, probably the toughest one on the list for me. I ended up going skydiving in an attempt to face it, realized that skydiving is not really a fear of heights, but a fear of giving up control. And I realized that in order to actually confront my fear of heights, I was going to have to do something where I was more immersed in it, right? When you're skydiving, it's more scary when you're in the plane. The moment you jump out, that fear kind of dissipates. But when you're rock climbing, when you're up on the wall, when I'm up 300 feet on the wall, you can't just like snap your fingers and it's done. You're stuck up there. You have to get used to living in that state of terror and learn how to kind of take control of yourself and make sure that you can breathe and make your way through it. So that is also true. All of the above. I honestly have even more of these. I've surfed waves the size of a 2-story house. I've surfed in Fiji all the way out, kind of in the middle, where you take a boat out to the middle of the ocean and there's a random reef. So you can be out 15 miles at sea and standing on a reef that goes up to your knees, and there's a surf break out there. So I surfed frigates in Fiji, so many different things. I just wish I could share all of my adventures with you guys, but my dream is to write one of the greatest stories ever told, and since I write adventure stories, I figured that I should start by living a truly great adventurous life. And so that has been kind of my pursuit, and I've been deeply inspired by Final Fantasy as a storyteller for my entire life. So yeah, that is going to basically conclude this video, guys. I know that I talked about a few different things, but for those of you guys that were interested, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm curious to see the new Final Fantasy IX banner on Wednesday. That being said, if you guys enjoyed this video today, please don't forget to drop a like, subscribe to the channel for more Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis content, and potentially some stories about some adventures around the world. I will catch you guys on the next one. Hope you all have a wonderful night. Take care, and peace.